others have measures limiting religious expression, but the federal government is not saying that they are being anti-democratic, that they will be bringing back summary executions or reinstating slavery. If the Liberal government believes that that's what Bill 21 is, they should say so to the entire world. They should be willing to back up their opinions on Bill 21 and the notwithstanding clause. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Agriculture. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Bloc is currently arguing that all governments, federal, provincial, and territorial, can invoke the notwithstanding clause under charter limits. If the federal government decided to invoke the notwithstanding clause to limit, for example, gender equality, would my colleague still agree that there should be no limits on this power? The honourable member. Mr. Speaker, I find that an amusing question because she is getting it exactly backwards. The notwithstanding clause is there to protect Quebec and the provinces. So her logic doesn't make any sense. She's writing fiction and turning to hypotheticals, but we should leave those to the courts. On our end, we know that there are provincial assemblies that renew every 4 years anyway. So all bills are subject and measures are subject to change. All of this is being discussed. The member's question makes no sense.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank my honourable Bloc member for her speech. I apologize, I will not be speaking en français. I am working on that, and one day soon, maybe I'll be able to do that. I noticed in her speech she said this statement, nothing has changed in this current government. I know we hear a lot of talk from the opposite side about this being a so-called new government. I wondered if she'd like to expand on that.
L'honorable député.
The honourable member for Côte-Nord, Kawashikamash Natasanan. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would even say I don't understand what this new government's priorities are. It looks like they're just recycling their old priorities. We talked about the notwithstanding clause back in 2023. Nothing new under the sun, apparently. Maybe they have something new, but I haven't seen it. Time will tell. And the Bloc Québécois will be there to hold the government accountable.
Questions and comments.
Questions and comments. The honourable député de.
The honourable member for Shefford. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to thank my colleague for her speech. She noted that the notwithstanding clause was already discussed back in the days of Mr. Lametti. I have some numbers for you. Since 2016, 41 bills passed by the Quebec National Assembly, including 11 that are still in effect, have been passed with the notwithstanding clause, yet no one is going after freedom of the press or trying to bring back executions. Can my colleague talk about these various bills passed legitimately by the Quebec National Assembly? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to thank my colleague from Shefford for that question. It really highlights the paternalistic, arrogant, scornful attitude that the federal government has towards Quebec. Like my colleague said, Quebec passed 41 bills using the notwithstanding clause. These laws have been progressive. They have improved the lives of Quebecers. Again, the federal government is showing scorn and arrogance, and this is an assault on the Quebec nation. We have time for a very short question with a very short answer. I'm thinking 15 or 20 seconds. The honourable member for Pontiac. My colleague still hasn't answered my question. Would she agree with a federal government using the notwithstanding clause to limit women's rights with no legal review or no restraints? The honourable member. I already answered that question. I wonder if my colleague will say whether she is willing to defend Quebec and whether she is supportive of Bill 21, which was legitimately passed by the Quebec National Assembly. She, as a Quebec member, seems to be saying that Quebec does not have the ability to pass its own laws.
Déclaration des députés. The honourable member for Scarborough Centre, Don Valley East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, yesterday, Canada took an important and historic step, formally recognizing the sovereign state of Palestine. I would like to thank the Prime Minister, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the millions of Canadians who told their government how important this is to them. All people have the right of self-determination, and Palestine deserves to take its place among the nations of the world. This is an important advancement of Canada's long-standing support for a two-state solution, where a free and democratic Palestine lives alongside a free and democratic Israel in peace and security. We must not lose sight of the genocide happening in Gaza and illegal occupation of West Bank. There must be a ceasefire. Humanitarian aid must reach those in need. Hostages and prisoners must be freed. There must be two-way arms embargo. All those responsible for war crimes, including genocide, must...
The honourable member for Prince Albert.
Mr. Speaker, the riding of Prince Albert and the people of Saskatchewan have an esteemed agricultural history. Our farmers are proud exporters who help feed the world and improve food security for all. Unfortunately, the punitive actions taken by the Chinese Communist Party has unfairly targeted Canadian canola. And in response to this unjust unilateral behavior, the Prime Minister sent a parliamentary secretary to Beijing. When the Conservative Party was in government, we sent the Minister of Agriculture because we recognized the importance of the canola industry to the Canadian economy. This Liberal government, Mr. Speaker, fails to properly understand the significant negative impacts of this Chinese trade action will have on Saskatchewan, our farmers, and the Canadian economy. It is about time that our Prime Minister recognizes the challenge at hand and shows Canada that our farmers and our jobs are worth fighting for. Mr. Speaker, will the Prime Minister show the resolve needed to defend our farmers and work to end the stalemate in Beijing, or will he just continue to roll over to China and sacrifice Western Canadian farmers?
Well done.
The honourable member for Brampton South.
Mr. Speaker, September marks Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. Ovarian cancer often goes undetected until late stages. Our government takes women's health seriously. In the last election, we committed to stronger data collection and advanced research, including the use of artificial intelligence to close long-standing gaps in women's and seniors' healthcare. Better data means better outcomes. In Brampton, many are leading by examples, from the Canadian Cancer Society's Run for the Cure to the Lavender Fire Truck campaign in Brampton. I also recognize local organizations like Cancer Warriors and Walnut Foundation and others for their dedication for raising awareness for cancer. Mr. Speaker, I urge all Canadians to prioritize early screening. Early detection can save lives, and it gives families the best chance for successful treatment. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Oshawa.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today with pride on behalf of Oshawa to celebrate a landmark moment for our community. The relocation of the Firewolves franchise to Oshawa is about more than a National Lacrosse League team. It's about investing in youth, local culture, and our city's economic future. And while many assume hockey is Canada's national sport, sorry hockey fans, lacrosse fans know the truth. Lacrosse is actually our national sport. Oshawa's lacrosse roots run deep, from the legendary Green Gaels and their 7 straight Minto Cups to today's Firewolves calling the Tribute Community Centre home. Starting in the 2025-26 season, we'll see new jobs, more tourism, and inspiration for young players. Mr. Speaker, I invite all colleagues to join me in congratulating the Oshawa Firewolves, their players, staff, and fans as we begin this exciting new chapter.
Here, here, here.
The honourable member for Winnipeg Centre.
Sorry.
Please, there's a bit of confusion. It's okay. There's been a change on the order. There was something missing, and the order remains the same, but we're going to go back to the member for Winnipeg Centre.
Mr. Speaker, too often governments choose expediency over principle, chasing short-term wins instead of building a just, sustainable future. People and the planet pay the price. Like in Canada, wrecking Palestine as a state, but refusing to use its power to stop this genocide, or even allow the entrance of Palestinian Canadians back into the country. They are human beings. They matter. I remember when my grandmother, a Holocaust survivor, finally let us open the family photo albums. My grandfather had forbidden it. The pain was too great. Page after page, I saw children, cousins, nieces, nephews, whose lives were stolen. I grew up without a family because of genocide, Mr. Speaker. Today, I think of Palestinian families facing this devastation, children robbed of futures, parents and grandparents, lonely. Recognition is not enough. We must act now.
The honourable member for Madawaska-Restigouche. Mr. Speaker, I often say my riding of Madawaska-Restigouche is brimming with talent, and today I'd like to draw attention to an exceptional young woman, Mikencia Charlie Francois, a teenager of Haitian origin who now lives in Edmundston, where she's attending high school at Cité des Jeunes à Sormani. Last July, she published her very first book entitled The Canadian Summer Through My Eyes. In this touching work, she shares her experience of her very first summer in Canada as a newcomer. With sensitivity and authenticity, she recounts the moments of joy, the moments of doubt, and the emotions that marked her journey. In addition to being a promising author with a mastery of our beautiful French language, Carly is actively involved in her community. She generously gives her time to several community events, acts as an ambassador for Francophone youth at various levels, and actively contributes to the local music, poetry, and literary scene. Congratulations, Carly. You're a true source of pride for our region.
Centre.
Mr. Speaker, our Constitution is the highest law in Canada. Every other law must conform to it. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms is a cornerstone of our Constitution, and the notwithstanding clause is central to it, a deliberate and essential part of the 1982 compromise that made the Charter possible. It reflects the will of Canadians to allow elected legislatures, not courts alone, to make final decisions in exceptional cases. Yet this government is asking the court to rewrite our Constitution. This is a reckless overreach with grave consequences, or perhaps a calculated distraction. Distraction from what? Real challenges facing Canadians: high inflation, escalating debt, ever-increasing crime, economic and trade uncertainty. Instead of addressing these mounting issues, the Prime Minister is wedging Canadians and creating an aimless diversion. Canadians deserve solutions, not more distractions.
The honourable member for Compton-Stanstead. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On this occasion of Gender Equality Week, I want to highlight the key and often invisible role of women in agriculture. For generations, women have played key roles on farms, be it in the field, barn, or office, and their work has remained in the shadows without formal recognition. They run agricultural businesses, are active on associations and institutions, and I salute the exceptional work of Women Farmers of Quebec, which supports, trains, and promotes women in all spheres of agriculture. It's also with sadness that I note the recent tragic passing of its president, Valérie Fortier. Her passion, leadership, and commitment left their mark on the entire agricultural community. My deepest thoughts are with her 3 children, her father, and her partner, and all the women farmers in Quebec. I pay tribute to her memory and to the resilience of women farmers here and all those who continue her fight. Thanks to them, the future of agriculture is stronger, more inclusive, and more equitable. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Selkirk Interlake Eastman.
Mr. Speaker, today is Army Day on the Hill when we celebrate and honour the brave women and men in our Canadian Army. Their dedication and sacrifice for Canada is unquestionable. I want to recognize the over 2,000 members currently serving in the Canadian-led multinational brigade group in Latvia, as well as our troops training Ukrainian soldiers under Operation Unifier, and those contributing to the NATO deterrence mission in Europe against Russian aggression under Operation Reassurance. And this summer, we saw our soldiers deployed to assist wildfire efforts in Manitoba and across Canada as part of Operation Lennis. Our troops cannot do all of this without the support of our military families, who are the backbone of our members as they endure long deployments away from home. Conservatives will always support our women and men in uniform and will continue to press for them to get all the kit they need to carry out the important missions we ask of them. Thank you to all our Army heroes for your amazing service, and a shout out to all those who are joining us on Parliament Hill today.
The honourable member for Pierre Boucher, Les Patriotes Verchères. Mr. Speaker, municipal elections are underway in Quebec. On November 2nd, Quebecers will go to the polls in over 1,000 municipalities. It will be an evening of high hopes for all the candidates, but it will also mark the end of an era for our elected officials who've chosen not to run for re-election. On behalf of the Bloc, I'd like to thank all the mayors and councillors who've served the public during the last term. You've taken on a role that is often difficult, sometimes rewarding, but always essential, with heart and determination. I'd also like to wish the best of luck to all those who have the courage to put their face on a sign and run for office. Quebecers will make their choice, but there are only winners when thousands of people offer to dedicate their energy and intellect to the well-being of their fellow Quebecers. Finally, Quebecers, get out and vote on November 2nd. The future is in your hands. The honourable member for Dorval, Lachine, LaSalle. Mr. Speaker, today 52 students and 3 teachers from Collège Sainte-Anne in Lachine visited Parliament. Founded in 1861 by the Sisters of Sainte-Anne, this institution is one of the oldest schools in Quebec. For nearly 165 years, it has educated students who have contributed, among many other things, innovation, entrepreneurship, and remarkable scientific achievements that have had an impact not only in Quebec and Canada, but all around the world. The teachers at Sainte-Anne teach with dedication and energy, preparing students with the knowledge and skills they'll need to succeed in their chosen careers. I'm delighted to welcome them here so that they can observe democracy in action up close. Perhaps among these students are tomorrow's members of Parliament. Whatever paths they choose, I wish them every success and happiness in life.
The honourable member for Flamborough, Glanbrook, Brant North.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister promised the fastest growing economy in the G7. Instead, we have the fastest shrinking with higher unemployment, record household debt, and the most expensive housing. Another Liberal broken promise. Wow. He told Canadians to judge him by grocery prices. Well, they're rising even faster today. Another Liberal broken promise. He promised to build, baby, build. Instead, it's block, baby, block. Housing starts are projected to drop 13%. Another Liberal broken promise. He promised elbows up tariffs against the U.S., then remove them without a deal. Another Liberal broken promise. He promised to spend less and invest more. Well, spending is way up, the deficit is doubling, and $63 billion in investment has fled Canada. Another Liberal broken promise. Broken promises, Mr. Speaker. That's all this Prime Minister has delivered.
Way to go, Dan!
The honourable member for Mississauga, Erin Mills.
Mr. Speaker, cricket has come to Ottawa. Today we're joined by Canadians representing over 300,000 women and men that play cricket across our country and millions that watch and cheer the sport. Today is the third annual cricket match between Canadian parliamentarians and the Commonwealth diplomats, where we square off and we pitch for peace. Today is more than about just sports. It's about building friendships across the world, celebrating cricket's growth here in Canada. For many MPs and senators and diplomats, today will be their first time playing cricket, but it will not be their last. I want to thank all the representatives of cricket who have joined us from coast to coast to coast, and thank you, Hassan Mirza, President of the Canadian College Cricket, for his leadership in helping put this together. Mr. Speaker, Canada needs to invest in our young cricketers representing us all over the world, and we're hopeful that we can continue to pitch for peace to build a stronger nation. Thank you.
The honourable member for Hastings, Lennox and Addington, Tyendinaga.
The Prime Minister claims to be pro-resource development, but mere months ago he was praising the authoritarian government in Beijing for understanding, quote, engineering solutions to issues around emissions, end quote, and their willingness to, quote, engage in the global commons in and around the climate, end quote. He happily gives the ambitious leadership of the Chinese Communist Party this high praise while they were doing the exact opposite of responsible environmental stewardship, constructing several new coal power plants. But, as we are increasingly seeing with this Prime Minister, he prefers platitudes over planning and progress. Coupled with his personal connections to Brookfield, securing a $250 million loan to the Chinese state-owned bank, Canadians are increasingly realizing that this Prime Minister is not only a walking conflict of interest, he is an anti-energy leader in Canada, and his behavior proves it. Way to go, Shelby!
The honourable member for Beauport-Limoilou. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I had the privilege this summer of meeting with the Ukrainian Alliance of Quebec, an organization that plays a vital role for its members and our entire community. The meeting was a chance to hear about their realities, needs, and aspirations, but above all, to see once again the strength and resilience of the Ukrainian community here. As the member for Beauport-Limoilou, I strongly believe Canada has a moral and political responsibility to support the Ukrainian people, both on the international stage and right here in our communities. My government has already taken concrete steps to welcome displaced families, strengthen cultural partnerships, and provide ongoing humanitarian and military aid. But beyond official gestures, it's human connections and local initiatives like the activities of the Alliance that give real meaning to our solidarity. I'd like to reaffirm that I will be an ally in this cause, as will our government.
The honourable member for North Island, Powell River.
Well, Mr. Speaker, it looks like the Minister of Public Safety accidentally told the truth. Yesterday, we learned in leaked audio that the minister privately acknowledged what Conservatives have been saying publicly for years, that their attacks on law-abiding firearm owners and their gun confiscation scheme is politically motivated, will do nothing for public safety, is completely unenforceable, and is a giant waste of nearly $1 billion of taxpayer money. This at a time when violent crime has surged and gun crime in particular under this Liberal government is up 130%. Wow. Now, we already know that the minister doesn't know what an RPAL is, that he doesn't know his own government decriminalized hard drugs in BC. How many more failures, scandals, and embarrassing moments does one man need to have before Canadians get a new Minister of Public Safety?
The honourable member for Bay of Quinte.
Mr. Speaker, this summer an extraordinary business in my riding of Bay of Quinte achieved a fantastic milestone. Sprague Foods hit 100 years of operation. Founded in 1925 as a seasonal cannery in Prince Edward County, the company has grown through 5 generations into the only remaining cannery in the region. From preserving local vegetables and producing soups now found on shelves across Canada, Sprague Foods has stayed true to simple, natural ingredients while adapting to changing markets. In a time when buying Canadian-made products is more important than ever, Sprague Foods is a key partner in supporting our local economy with good jobs and food security. So on behalf of myself and this entire House, congratulations to Sprague Foods on the past century, and cheers to 100 more. And Mr. Speaker, I would also like to acknowledge the Canadian Armed Forces we have here today for Army Appreciation Day. Thank you for all your service.
Oral questions. Oral questions, questions orales. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I must admit that I've never seen this before. On Monday, a minister said that his own program would not work. He was caught on recording saying that. Then on Tuesday, he announced that he would go forward with the program. He was right on Monday. It's a waste of $750 million, which will be taken away from our border and police services. It will be used to go after hunters and sports shooters. Will the Prime Minister sack this minister?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Merci pour la question.
Thank you for the question.
Let me just take this opportunity to talk about the compensation program that we launched today. The pilot will take place in Cape Breton. There are roughly, yes, I want to thank the colleagues from Cape Breton for their support, but I also want to thank the police chief, as well as those who are going to step forward and apply for the rebate, Mr. Speaker. This is smart policy. We're moving forward on it, and I fully believe that we will be able to implement this throughout the country over the next year.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
But he said the exact opposite in the recording, Mr. Speaker. He admitted that confiscating $750 million worth of our arms will not work. And he even made a promise to his renter. He promised to hire 1,000 border agents. Meanwhile, 400% of firearm crimes are from firearms that come up from the border. He lost 600 dangerous criminals somewhere on our streets, and he doesn't even know how to define a firearm or what's a dangerous firearm. So he's not capable of doing his job. Will the Prime Minister sack him?
Mr. Speaker, public safety are not binary choices. You could do both, Mr. Speaker. We can ensure that guns are off our streets by ensuring that people who are able to turn in their firearms are able to get compensated for those prohibited weapons. That is what we're doing with the launch of our gun buyback program today. We will continue to make smart criminal justice reforms to ensure that criminals are off our streets and bail is tougher for repeat violent offenders, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, I have to admit, Mr. Speaker, in all my years here, I've not seen this before. On Monday, a minister says that his program won't work. On Tuesday, he says he's going ahead with the program, a program that will take $750 million away from frontline border and police services to go after Grandpa Joe's hunting rifle. A waste of money that police say they won't implement, and that the minister was caught on recording saying they will never implement. He even promised to bail his tenant out of jail if he breaks the law. When will the Prime Minister fire this minister?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, let's be clear. If Grandpa Joe is using AR-15s to go hunting, I think we have to have a much more serious conversation about hunting. What we're going forward, Mr. Speaker, are 2,500 prohibited weapons, AR-15s that are killing people around the world, including those in mass casualty incidents in Canada, Mr. Speaker. If the Leader of the Opposition wants to have a real conversation about crime, he also has to have a real conversation about guns, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, that minister did have a real conversation about guns. He was caught on tape admitting that his program won't work because it will go after legitimate hunters and sport shooters rather than after the 80% of guns that are used in crime which come illegally across the border. He admits that his $750 million program won't work. He offered to bail his tenant out of jail if he breaks the rules. He lost track of 6,000 foreign criminals in our country. He admits he doesn't know what a gun license is. More than half of Canadians don't feel safe under his watch. Will the Prime Minister do the only thing that will secure our country and fire this incompetent minister?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, you can't be serious about public safety if you're not serious about gun crime. My honourable colleague on the other side of the House raises concerns about the illegal flow of guns across the border. When he was in government, he made cuts that made it easier for illegal guns to come across the border. Mr. Speaker, we're going to be adding 1,000 officers at the border. He also has campaigned on a commitment to legalize assault-style weapons and claims they're used for hunting. There are hunters in my community I'd love to introduce them to. They don't shoot deer with AR-15s.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, it seems the Liberal strategy is to say that the public safety minister is not incompetent enough to be fired because they have, by comparison, an even more incompetent Minister of Justice. I guess everything is relative, Mr. Speaker. And I'm glad that to prove his incompetence, I'm glad he brought up the issue of border security, because we asked the government in an order paper question last week whether they'd keep their promise on 1,000 new border guards. They got back saying not only have they not hired the 1,000 more, they have no plans to do so. More incompetence from this public safety minister. When will the Prime Minister fire him?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Mr. Speaker, with respect to the commitment to hire 1,000 officers at the border, I would point my honourable colleague opposite to the election campaign platform that Canadians across the country, including of the riding of Carleton, supported to make sure that we would defend our border against the flow of illegal guns and drugs into Canada. Mr. Speaker, for years I have watched Conservatives brush away gun crime as something that's completely unserious, pretending that it's only law-abiding people who shoot guns in this country. The fact is there are criminals who shot innocent people. We are going to do something about it.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, it is incredible. Only that minister who ruined the immigration system, the ruined the housing market, could simultaneously repeat a promise while breaking it.
Right.
It was last week that the Liberal promise of another, yes, that's right, a Liberal promise is a prop.
The Honourable Member knows that he can't use props. Yeah. Okay, the Honourable Member has 15 seconds left, so we'll start the clock again.
Mr. Speaker, it was just last week that the minister's own department revealed that they are breaking their promise on 1,000 new border guards. They say they are not only have they not hired the 1,000, but they haven't even developed the plan to do so. That is the responsibility of the public safety minister. He's broken the promise. Will he be fired?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, on April the 28th, Canadians gave this government a mandate to do many things, including hiring a new 1,000 CBSA and 1,000 RCMP officers. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, it's obvious that the Leader of the Opposition doesn't understand the hiring process, nor the plan and the work that goes into hiring these 1,000 exceptional men and women who are going to serve this country. I want to take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to welcome the leader back into the House, but also ask him, maybe this is time for him to take his security clearances so he can actually do his job properly.
The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, the Liberals' involvement in the legal challenge to Bill 21 is a constitutional power grab. That's clear from their speeches today. What we are hearing today is that what they're upset about goes beyond secularism. Their concern is that Quebec could use the with notwithstanding clause to pass laws that Ottawa disagrees with, so they want to weaken the clause, which is Quebec's only tool to avoid being subordinated to Ottawa and to its courts. They want to turn Ottawa into a superior government and Quebec into an inferior government. Will the Liberals withdraw from the challenge and put an end to this constitutional power grab?
L'Honorable Ministre de la Justice.
The Honourable Minister of Justice. Mr. Speaker, this shouldn't come as a surprise. We've had the same stance for several years now. When there are cases at the Supreme Court of Canada, we participate. As the member knows full well, the case is at the Supreme Court of Canada. When a case makes it to the Supreme Court of Canada, the government weighs in. The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, the Liberals are doing more than just challenging Bill 21. They want to ensure that they have a say in all of Quebec's laws. What their factum suggests is that Quebecers do not have a good enough judgment to be allowed to pass our own laws without supervision from Ottawa. And to prove their point, they rely on completely apocalyptic examples, such as the possibility that Quebec could use the notwithstanding clause to legalize slavery or arbitrary executions. Mr. Speaker, exaggeration is the argument people make when they have no other argument. Since their factum doesn't contain any real arguments, why don't they withdraw it? The Honourable Minister of Identity and Canadian Culture. Mr. Speaker, my colleague talks about exaggeration. Well, she's the one exaggerating. She's laying it on pretty thick. And the answer to her question, well, she already answered it. Courts cannot change the Constitution. We're not weighing in to guarantee that the courts can change the Constitution. As we said yesterday, the only body that can change the Constitution is the Parliament. We are weighing in to protect the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. The Honourable Member for Jonquière. Mr. Speaker, if the Liberals want to amend the Constitution and Section 33 on the notwithstanding clause, then let them launch a round of constitutional negotiations. Let them reopen the Constitution if they want to change the rules. Let them treat Quebec and the provinces as equal partners in a public debate rather than going through the courts. Let the Liberals respect their own federation and behave democratically, Mr. Speaker. Will the Liberals withdraw their insulting factum? It insults Quebecers. And will they withdraw from the challenge to Bill 21? The Honourable Minister of Justice. Mr. Speaker, quite the contrary. We do not want to change the Constitution. We want an opportunity for the court to clarify the Constitution. Now, the case has made it before the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is the appropriate forum for making arguments, not here in the House of Commons.
Mr. Speaker, gun crime is up 130% under this Liberal government. And what's their answer? Targeting law-abiding hunters and sports shooters. This minister was caught on leaked audio accidentally telling the truth about the Liberal gun buyback scheme. He admitted it's not worth the money, that it will go over budget, that it's politically motivated, all for optics, but worst of all, that it's not even going to work. Yet this Prime Minister is telling the minister full steam ahead. He's actively trying to sell a program that he admits will waste $750 million and not improve public safety. Why won't the Prime Minister just fire this minister?
The Honourable Secretary of State. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to start by setting the record straight. The program, which was announced at noon today, will buy back assault weapons. This will not affect hunters. I repeat, this will not affect hunters. All reasonable hunters do not need to use assault-style weapons, which will be bought back. That's what we announced today. All Canadians are looking forward to this program. We've been talking about this since 1999, since the terrible feminicide. The needs are the same today, and we're going to get this done. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, it was the public safety minister who set the record straight when he was caught on tape saying that this program won't do a thing for public safety. They're not taking guns away from criminals, they're letting criminals out on the street. And now they're diverting $750 million that could actually go to things that would protect Canadians. That's money being diverted away from the border where illegal guns and drugs could be stopped. It's $750 million that's not going to new border agents to deport foreign criminals. Mr. Speaker, why won't this Prime Minister just do the right thing and fire this incompetent public safety minister?
The Honourable Secretary of State. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Will understand a bit more. That program is to remove in the hands of Canadians firearms that are designed to kill people, not for hunting. And it is not a waste of money because Canadian wants those firearms out of the street. They voted for us. We said we will do that. We will do that.
The honourable member for Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes.
In a leaked audio recording, the Liberal Public Safety Minister said that their gun buyback program won't keep Canadians safe and that it's a waste of money. Well, we agree on both counts, but he's pressing ahead. And he launched an assault on licensed law-abiding gun owners today. But gun crime is up 130% under these Liberals, that Liberal minister and that Prime Minister. The minister's job is to keep Canadians safe, and he's saying himself that this $750 million program won't do that. Will the Prime Minister fire his minister?
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This opportunity, I appreciate the opportunity to be able to clarify what we're doing, Mr. Speaker. First and foremost, whatever the member opposite said is factually incorrect. I support this policy, Mr. Speaker. That's why I brought this forward today at 12:30 this afternoon. I, along with several of my colleagues here, as well as Police Chief of Cape Breton, as well as the Deputy Commissioner of the RCMP, announced the compensation program as a pilot first in Nova Scotia, and we will be expanding it across Canada, Mr. Speaker. I invite the party opposite to get on board and to ensure that guns are off our streets.
The Honourable Member for Lethbridge. Oh, sorry, my mistake. Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, Rideau Lakes.
Well, Mr. Speaker, you'll have to accept my apologies if I don't take the Public Safety Minister at his word today, if instead we take him at his word from Monday when he said that the program was a waste of money, it wasn't going to keep Canadians safe, and if it's such a good idea and it's not going to target people who are not breaking the law, why was he offering to bail his buddy out of jail? How could his friend be targeted unless, of course, this was going to target licensed, law-abiding firearms owners? The OPP have said no, they won't participate. A Crown Corporation Canada Post won't participate. It's $750 million that could hire cops to keep Canadians safe. That's not what they're focused on. Will the PM fire the minister?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, this afternoon we were able to launch the assault-style firearms compensation program. It starts first off in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, with a pilot. It'll last for 5 to 7 weeks, Mr. Speaker. From there, we will expand it across Canada. This is what Canadians voted for on April the 28th. They gave us a mandate to implement this program, Mr. Speaker, and we will be implementing this program. We will ensure that those prohibited weapons, including AR-15s, are off our streets, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member for Lethbridge.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the reality is that after releasing violent offenders and targeting law-abiding citizens of this country, such as sports shooters or hunters, gun crime has actually surged by 130% under this Liberal government. The Public Safety Minister admits that it's simply a gun grab rather than accomplishing anything good for Canadians. He has confessed that he doesn't know what an RPEL is, and he has sponsored a bill that undermines civil liberties. He is mired in conflict of interest concerns, so would the Prime Minister finally do the right thing and fire this incompetent minister?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Rural Development.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My colleague spoke in French, and then she spoke in English, and the Tories still didn't get it, so I will speak slow, Mr. Speaker. This is not about hunting. This is not about infringing upon people that are out there legally hunting, Mr. Speaker. And I got a lot of people from rural Saskatchewan and northern Saskatchewan that enjoy hunting. This is not about hunting. It is about stopping the violence, stopping the AK-47s from crossing our border, and keeping.
L'honorable député de Bellechasse.
The Honourable Member for Bellechasse, Les Etchemins, Lévis. The Minister of Public Safety was caught in leaked audio admitting in a recording that the Liberal gun confiscation program is not worth the $750 million he's about to spend on it. Mr. Speaker, he knows it, we know it. This program will accomplish nothing other than inconveniencing law-abiding Canadians like hunters. The program will not reduce gun crime, which is increased by 130% under these Liberals. Canadians do not trust this minister to implement a policy that he himself acknowledges is ineffective. The only option is for the minister to resign. Will he do so? The Honourable Secretary of State. I thank my colleague for her question in French. You know, and she knows as well, that the tragedy at Polytechnique set things in motion in Canada so that we could remove assault weapons from our streets in Canada and in Quebec. It's incredibly important. Now, we have a gun registry with different types of guns. What we're doing today through our program will not affect hunters who are using reasonable hunting weapons. This will only prevent weapons which can kill people. The Honourable Member. Here's the situation, Mr. Speaker. The Liberals have increased gun crime by 130%. That's a fact. The Minister of Public Safety admitted that the Liberal gun confiscation program is political. That's a fact. He also admitted that it will be ineffective. So the government is heading for disaster with this gun program. It won't make our streets safer. Will the Prime Minister demand the minister's resignation? The Honourable Secretary of State for Nature. Mr. Speaker, 35 years ago, I was in a hospital bed and I did not understand what was going on. I did not understand that something like that could happen to me in Canada. I was at the first press conference with fellow students. We all called for the removal of assault-style weapons from our streets. I will continue to advocate for that and fight for that. What's most important is to do what Canadians want and what Canadians voted for. Mr. Speaker, we will go all the way. We will go forward with our program and hunters will be able to continue to hunt. The Honourable Member for Rivière-du-Nord. Mr. Speaker, the Liberals' challenge to Bill 21 is about so much more than state secularism. In the Liberals' factum, what they're saying is, we've seen where Quebecers are headed with their secularism. At this point, who knows? They might even be capable of closing churches or shutting down newspapers if Ottawa didn't stop them. The Liberals want to weaken the notwithstanding clause so that the federal government and, of course, federally appointed judges have the final say on every law Quebec passes. In Quebec, that's what we would call guardianship. In Canada, what exactly would it be called? Maybe the minister can tell us. The Honourable Minister of Identity and Canadian Culture. Mr. Speaker, what my colleague said is false. Our intervention, our factum to the Supreme Court is to defend rights and freedoms. We are the Charter Party. We have always and will always defend the CCRF. Now, someone recently announced that they would use in one province the notwithstanding clause 3 times. 3 times. We want courts to be able to tell citizens of provinces, your rights are being violated. That's what we want to be able to still be the case. The Honourable Member for Rivière-du-Nord. This is not defending the Charter. Mr. Speaker, the Liberals want Bill 21 on state secularism to be reversed. That is crystal clear. But they want more than that. They want the final say. They want to ensure that they and their appointed judges have the final say. They want to decide everything for everyone in their Liberal Canada. This is unacceptable for Quebecers, and sometimes I wonder what we're still doing here. The Honourable Minister of Identity and Canadian Culture. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to remind my colleague that during the last federal election, Quebecers elected 2 times more Liberals than Bloc Québécois members. 2 times more. And why did Quebecers do so? They know that we're here for them, that we stand up for their rights, and that we work well with provinces and territories. Just last week, I met with 2 representatives of the Government of Quebec to announce a project for 20 million housing units, 10 million at market price. Mr. Speaker, we can work with provinces and territories, all while defending the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
The public safety minister's #1 job is to keep Canadians safe. Instead, he's blowing taxpayer dollars on a gun buyback program he knows will fail. The Toronto Police Association has slammed it as useless, and they're right. Almost every gun used in Toronto crime last year was smuggled, the overwhelming majority from the U.S. Yet this minister is attacking law-abiding Canadians knowing full well his program will not work. The minister has failed to do his job. Will the Prime Minister fire this incompetent minister?
Good L'Honorable Ministre.
The Honourable Public Safety Minister.
Against getting our guns off our streets. I'm puzzled why AR-15s are required for hunting. I'm not a hunter, Mr. Speaker, but I've spoken to many hunters, and many of those will say that AR-15s do not belong on our streets, in our communities. That's what we're doing here today, Mr. Speaker, with the plan that we launched today in Cape Breton and will be spread across Canada. We are getting serious guns off our streets, and we'll make sure our communities are safer.
The Honourable Member for Brantford, Brant South, Six Nations.
Mr. Speaker, the truth came out a few days ago. He knows the gun grab will fail. He was caught on tape admitting it will blow the budget and that it'd be better to lock up criminals committing the crimes. Sorry, Minister, your words were not misguided. They were the truth. That's right. But today he's blindly plowing ahead, not to protect Canadians, but because the Prime Minister wants a political stunt. That's right. If he knows it'll fail, admits it'll waste millions, and says it's all about politics, why is he still in charge of public safety?
That's a good question. The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, I recognize the member opposite is a lawyer, and I know he knows what defamation is, and I invite him to say the exact same words outside in the House, Mr. Speaker. What I will say, Mr. Speaker, is that the program that we launched today is one that will make our community safer. It will ensure that guns such as...
I couldn't hear it now. I'm trying my best, but it's very hard sometimes. So if the Honourable Minister could start from the top, because I really didn't catch anything he was saying.
Mr. Speaker, I realize that the member opposite who just asked that question is a lawyer, and I know that he knows defamation law, and I invite him to say those exact same words outside of the House, Mr. Speaker. What I will say is we have launched a program today that will ensure the safety and security of Canadians. We will compensate those who are willing to bring forward their prohibited weapons and collect remuneration for that, Mr. Speaker. We will ensure that we have greater bail reform laws, Mr. Speaker, that will keep serious violent criminals off our streets. We could do both.
The Honourable Member for Bowmanville, Oshawa North.
Mr. Speaker, gun crime is up 130%, and Toronto police report that 88% of the illegal guns they seize have been smuggled north across our southern border. The Liberal Public Safety Minister does nothing to keep our communities in the Toronto area safe. Instead, he focuses on banning legal hunting rifles in rural Canada.
Hear, hear.
When will the Prime Minister take action and actually hold this minister accountable and fire him? He's done nothing to keep Toronto safe, and that is his job.
The Honourable Secretary of State for Combating Crime.
Mr. Speaker, this government has put historic investments into our borders to be able to keep illegal guns off our streets and Canadians safe. We're going to continue to bring further legislation that will tighten our sentencing and bail system. But, Mr. Speaker, mass shootings are a crime. And we have several examples of mass shootings that have taken place in Canada and the United States. We should learn that lesson and get these assault-style rifles off our streets.
The Honourable Member for Charlesbourg, Haut-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, with this Minister of Public Safety, it's failure after failure. A significant rise in firearms crimes and he has been caught talking about how worried he is about the gun buyback program. And now he's leaving African mafiosa groups enter our country. When will the Prime Minister make this minister resign? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. Mr. Speaker, sorry. It's important for us to finish this action. Canadians expect this of us. It's important for us to respect the commitments we've made, and this program will allow us to do this. And I think that all Quebecers, all Canadians expect this of us. It's not the only thing we have to do to fight crime, but it is part of the set of measures that we are going to take to do so. Thank you. The Honourable Member for Charlesbourg, Saint-Charles. And with all due respect, my question is for the Minister of Public Safety. He doesn't need the Secretary of State to respond. If we're talking about borders, we're talking about crimes and African mafia groups. Will this minister? Well, this is a major issue for Canada, and we need to control African mafia groups. Will the Prime Minister fire his Minister of Public Safety?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I do want to caution this member that he is really treading lightly in the language he's using, describing a particular group that he's concerned about, Mr. Speaker. It is borderline racism, and I do caution him to take note of his language. But let me be very clear, Mr. Speaker, and we're investing in our border. We are bringing forward. We have already invested $1.3 billion in securing our border, Mr. Speaker. We are hiring 1,000 new RCMP officers, and we're also hiring 1,000 new CBSA officers, Mr. Speaker. We will ensure that our borders are safe and secure.
The honourable member for Guelph.
Mr. Speaker, even with Canada's success in negotiating new trade deals around the world, efforts to secure a new agreement with the U.S., and launching major projects, these unjustified U.S. tariffs on steel, aluminum, and autos are hurting businesses of all sizes, including manufacturing and agri-food in my riding of Guelph. Will the minister responsible for FedDev please outline which new programs are available to support them in these difficult times and how to access them?
The Honourable Minister for Artificial Intelligence and Digital Innovation.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank my honourable colleague from Guelph for her important question and the tireless work on behalf of her constituents and local businesses. Southern Ontario, as we all know, has been among the hardest hit by tariffs, home to the steel and auto industries and industries that employ more than 8 million workers. This summer, I spoke with businesses like Laval Tools in Windsor and organizations like the Niagara Economic Development Corporation, who told us how much they value FedDev's work and their investment in innovation and creating new jobs. That's why our Regional Tariff Response Initiative is now open, Mr. Speaker, for application, and why our caucus is so...
The Honourable Member for Kamloops, Thompson-Nicola.
Mr. Speaker, the Public Safety Minister's #1 job is to keep Canadians safe, and he has failed at that job. In a secret recording, he said, "Don't ask me about the logic." And I agree. I don't see the logic either. Gun crimes are up 130%. Bail across the country is perceived as a joke, and these Liberals in Bill C-5 voted to lower sentences for gun crimes. Everything in this file is a mess. So why doesn't the Prime Minister fire his Public Safety Minister?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Mr. Speaker, when it comes to public safety in this country, we agree that there is work to do when it comes to bail reform and to tighten sentencing, which is why we will be introducing legislation that makes the criminal justice system treat serious crime with more serious consequences going forward. But a point of disagreement between the government and the opposition is the role of assault-style weapons in this country. Mr. Speaker, my constituents at home in Nova Scotia and Canadians that I meet in every province believe that it is common sense to take guns that are designed to kill people off our streets. It is remarkable that the Conservatives have a contrary view.
The Honourable Member for Kamloops, Thompson-Nicola.
He wants a point of disagreement. How about this, Mr. Speaker? House arrest for people who do drive-by shootings, and that minister voted for it. That is a point of disagreement, Mr. Speaker. This minister has one job, and that's to keep us safe. $742 million are going towards a program that he doesn't even believe in. How many RCMP officers could that get us? How many border security officers can that get us? This whole thing is an absolute mess. The question is this: when will the Prime Minister fire him?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Combating Crime.
Mr. Speaker, we take crime, all types of crime, very seriously. And that is why this government's second piece of legislation in this House was C2, to make sure we give our policing organizations the tools they need to crack down on organized crime, on criminals that are running our streets. But we do not need AR-15s in our country, Mr. Speaker. That rifle was designed to kill human beings. So, if I could ask the Conservatives, why are you on the side of crime?
A reminder through the Speaker, through the Chair, the Honourable Member for York Durham.
In the last election, the Prime Minister promised to hire 1,000 new border officers. Now, the Minister of Public Safety in his response today suggested we just don't understand the hiring process. Let me suggest to him that he doesn't understand how promises work. You actually have to keep them. But internal documents from the CBSA last week disclosed to this House that the Minister of Public Safety, responsible for hiring border officers, has hired precisely 0. His #1 job is to keep Canadians safe, and he has failed. When will the Prime Minister hold this minister responsible and fire him?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We made a promise in the last election, Mr. Speaker. On April the 28th, Canadians gave us a mandate, and we're fulfilling that promise this afternoon, Mr. Speaker. We've launched the compensation program where in Cape Breton, as a starting point, we were piloting the ability for individual owners who have prohibited firearms to turn it in to law enforcement, who will collect it, who will inspect it, and who will then advise on the compensation, Mr. Speaker. This will be spread across Canada in the coming weeks, Mr. Speaker. I look forward to the support from the member opposite who's really
the Honourable Member for York Durham.
Mr. Speaker, the minister says he's taking this seriously, but his own response to this House tells a very different story. Not only has he failed to hire a single new border officer, he doesn't even have a plan to hire any. He has failed to keep the government's promise, failed to hire new border officers, failed to stem the flow of illegal guns across the border, and failed to keep Canadians safe, his one and only job. So when will the Prime Minister hold this minister accountable and fire him?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, we look forward to welcoming 1,000 new RCMP and 1,000 new CBSA officers to the ranks of our frontline public service, Mr. Speaker. I was in Regina, Mr. Speaker, speaking to the RCMP training facilities. We're getting prepared to be able to train the 1,000 new RCMP officers we will be onboarding over the next several years, Mr. Speaker. It is important that we continue to invest in law enforcement. That's exactly what this Prime Minister committed to. That's exactly what we'll be doing.
The Honourable Member for Calgary Nose Hill.
Over the summer, it was revealed that the Public Safety Minister lost track of 600 non-citizens with serious criminal records who were set to be deported. Over 70% of these people have been convicted of serious crimes, such as sexual assault. Right now, these people are still roaming our streets. The minister had one job, and it's to keep Canadians safe. He's failed it. Will the Prime Minister fire his Public Safety Minister?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, this year we are on target to remove over 20,000 individuals who do not meet the requirements to be in Canada, Mr. Speaker. It is a record level of removals in Canadian history, and we're working towards ensuring that this is accelerated even further. The addition of another 1,000 CBSA officers will help and aid in this process, Mr. Speaker. We will continue to make sure that Canada and our border is safe, Mr. Speaker. This is exactly what we've been working on. We will continue to invest in Canadians.
Honourable Member for Calgary Nose Hill.
I'm not sure what on track means when there's 600 serious criminals who who are non-citizens who should be deported but are on the streets. We asked these questions in May and in June. The minister had the entire summer to come up with a plan. These are people who have been convicted of crimes like sexual assault, and he lost them, and he can't find them. Why won't the Prime Minister fire his public safety minister?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, the Canada Border Service Agency has been working very hard throughout this, not just the summer, Mr. Speaker, the last several years to ensure that our borders are stronger than ever. This year, we are on target to have more than 20,000 removals of those who are not eligible to be in this country, and that number is accelerating by the month, Mr. Speaker. This is the type of work that our exceptional front service officers are doing. This is the type of investment that we will be adding to this year, including adding 1,000 new CBSA officers, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honourable Member for St. Albert, Sturgeon River.
Speaker, the Minister of Public Safety got caught on tape telling his tenant that he need not worry about the Liberals' $750 million gun buyback because he could simply ignore it, and then proceeded to joke that he would bail him out if he got arrested. In other words, the Minister of Public Safety effectively counseled his tenant to break the law. In the face of this serious ethical lapse, will the Prime Minister fire this minister?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, I appreciate another opportunity to talk about our compensation program that we launched today. At 12:30 today, Mr. Speaker, I, along with many of my colleagues, including the Secretary of State for Nature, who you've heard in this House, Mr. Speaker, of the enormous work that she has done over decades in advocating for this moment, Mr. Speaker. Survivors across Canada have asked for this, Mr. Speaker. It's important that we get weapons such as AR-15s off our streets. That's exactly what we've done. We'll be expanding this from Cape Breton to across Canada over the next 5 to 7 weeks, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for St. Albert, Sturgeon River.
Mr. Speaker, it doesn't end there. On tape, the minister admitted that the buyback rips off law-abiding firearms owners when he promised his frustrated tenant to personally pay the difference in value for his confiscated firearm. Counseling his tenant to break the law, promising to bail him out, and then trying to appease him by cutting a check. How many ethical lapses is it going to take before the Prime Minister fires this incompetent minister?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, I invite this House, I invite the members opposite to have a serious conversation about guns, Mr. Speaker. When you want to talk about crime, when we want to work together to ensure that our streets are safer, it needs to be a serious conversation. It cannot be hyperbole, Mr. Speaker. What we've announced today is to take off from our streets weapons that should not be in possession of Canadians, which include AR-15s, Mr. Speaker, that are lethal and that can destroy people, Mr. Speaker. This is why we brought forward this plan. We're starting in Cape Breton. We're going to be expanding it across Canada, Mr. Speaker. I invite members opposite to support this.
The Honourable Member for Elgin, St. Thomas, London South.
Mr. Speaker, the first job of the public safety minister is to keep Canadians safe. This public safety minister admitted to not knowing what a firearms license is. He said he doesn't know what the classifications of firearms are, and he couldn't even defend his own Liberal government's gun confiscation scheme to his tenant on the most basic questions. And this is the minister responsible for Canada's gun laws. The public safety minister oversees national security, terrorism. What else does he not know about his own file? His incompetence puts Canadian lives at risk. When will the Prime Minister fire him?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, the member opposite, I'm told, understands weapons, understands firearms. I want to ask him a very simple question, Mr. Speaker. Why do we need AR-15s in our communities? Why do we need it in our neighborhoods? Why do we need it on our streets, Mr. Speaker? Can that member tell this House why we need that type of weapons on our streets, making it more harder, making it unsafe for Canadians, Mr. Speaker?
The Honourable Member for Avalon.
Mr. Speaker,
The 2025 wildfire season has been the second worst wildfire season on record, with communities across the country, including my home province of Newfoundland and Labrador, facing devastation and thousands of Canadians forced from their homes. Can the Minister of Emergency Management give us an update on what the House and how our government supported Canadians and the wildfires response?
The Honourable Minister of Emergency Management and Community Resilience.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the first responders and local officials and members of the Canadian Armed Forces whose work on the front lines saved lives and protected communities. We were there for Newfoundland and Labradorians as they faced these historic wildfires. We also supported Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and Nova Scotia. In true Canadian form, the provinces and territories stepped up to help one another when more resources were needed. While many face a long road to recovery, we'll continue to support Canadians with focus, determination, and unity.
The Honourable Member for Edmonton Gateway.
Keeping Canadians safe is the Public Safety Minister's #1 job. But the rising number of extortion cases in this country is out of control. Surrey police say that the number of cases they're investigating since June have tripled. Canadians continue to live in fear of their houses being shot at or businesses being burnt down or much, much worse. Meanwhile, the minister continues to make empty promises of additional RCMP officers, but they haven't been hired yet. This minister has clearly failed to keep Canadians safe from international gangs and extortions. When will the Prime Minister fire him?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Combating Crime.
Hear, hear.
Mr. Speaker, extortion is illegal in Canada. It carries a very stiff penalty. The Conservatives would like people to believe that it is legal to extort people. It is not. There are minimum sentences that extortion carries.
That's right.
We've created a national task force that is working and monitoring all extortions and connecting police agencies across this country. Many arrests have been made. We won't stop there. We'll continue to go after extortionists. It's illegal, and they will be put behind bars.
The Honourable Member for Abbotsford South Langley.
Mr. Speaker, the #1 job of the Public Safety Minister is to keep Canadians safe, and he has failed. Extortion is up 330%, especially in my riding of Abbotsford South Langley. The minister has not yet labeled the Bishnoi Gang as a terrorist organization who are responsible for widespread violence in Canada. Designating the Bishnoi Group as a terrorist entity will arm the law enforcement with the critical tools needed to prosecute the gang activities. Politicians nationwide have been calling on this. Will this minister resign today, or will the Prime Minister finally fire him for his poor behavior?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Secretary of State for Combating Crime.
Mr. Speaker, public safety is a top priority for this new government. National security experts independently evaluate and make recommendations on terrorist entity listings. This work is ongoing, and we hope to have a decision very soon, Mr. Speaker.
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Member for Calgary Skyview.
Mr. Speaker, extortion cases have skyrocketed by 330%. This past Saturday night, my community was targeted by Bishnoi terrorists who carried out a shooting followed by an attempt to extort the victim. This gang is actively threatening innocent Canadians, causing fear in neighborhoods like mine. Yet, this minister has failed to label them as a terrorist organization. My question to the Minister of Public and Safety is simple. Will this minister resign, or will the Prime Minister fire him today?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Combating Crime.
Mr. Speaker, it is the RCMP that first came out to expose the Bishnoi Gang in this country as an organization that is actively working in our neighborhoods. It is a crime to extort Canadians. We will go after them. We've created a national task force to address this issue. Our national security experts are independently evaluating the listing of Bishnoi as a terrorist organization. I hope they will arrive at a decision soon so that we can continue to keep our communities safe.
The Honourable Member for Hamilton Centre.
Mr. Speaker, Canada's new government has been elected on the promise to spend less, invest more, and make government more efficient. Can the President of Treasury Board update this House on the red tape review he has been recently launched and how it will help ensure more effective service delivery for our Canadians?
Honourable President of the Treasury Board.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank my honourable colleague for this question. Canada's new government is taking bold actions and delivering results. We're eliminating red tape to improve efficiency and to deliver better and faster services to Canadians. We have received almost 500 proposals since launching our red tape review.
That's impressive.
These initiatives will make the government more efficient to build the strongest economy in the G7 and to build Canada strong.
The honourable member for Portneuf, Jacques Cartier. Mr. Speaker, what another fine mess this Liberal government has made of the firearms issue. Crime is up 130% under these Liberals, and the minister is targeting the wrong people by attacking honest citizens who are hunters and sports shooters. The new Minister of Public Safety says privately that the famous gun buyback is a waste of money and the budget will skyrocket, but under pressure from the PM, he must hypocritically continue the program. The minister has no legitimacy. When will the Prime Minister fire him? The Honourable Secretary of State. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank my colleague for his question. Canadians want to live in a safe environment, and for 35 years they know that assault-style weapons can cause massacres in Canada. It happened to me. It happened to other Canadian citizens in Portapique and across Canada. And what we're going to do today that starts in Cape Breton, and I'd like to thank the Cape Breton team that is starting this pilot project. We are going to remove these assault-style weapons from our streets to make our country a safer one. Thank you.
The honourable member for Vancouver East.
The Liberal government abused their power one too many times by invoking Section 107 of the Labour Code as a backdoor to order striking workers back to work. They did it with rail, port, and postal workers. And they tried to do it with Air Canada flight attendants. QP National fought back and defied the back-to-work order. Trade unions across the country stood firmly on the side of flight attendants to say unpaid work don't fly. Will the minister respect the constitutional right of workers to free collective bargaining and repeal Section 107 of the Labour Code? Yes or no?
Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday I had the privilege and honour, along with Secretary of State of Labour, to meet with the Canadian building trades unions who are standing strongly with our government as we plan to build the strongest economy in the G7. We talked about the major projects that are going to provide great jobs for tradespeople, unionized tradespeople across this country, and the importance of having unionization in this country to protect a strong middle class. And Mr. Speaker, I will tell you that this government will always act quickly to support labour rights and to support industrial peace.
The honourable member for Courtenay Alberni.
Canada is facing record wildfires that are destroying communities, critical infrastructure, and lives, while also creating dangerous air pollution that harms human health. Yet Canada still doesn't have a sovereign aerial firefighting fleet. In Port Alberni, Coulson Aviation is a world leader in retrofitting aircraft, such as the retired CC-130 Hercules, that could continue to protect Canadians and create high-skilled jobs here at home. Will the government commit in this budget to establishing a permanent national aerial firefighting fleet so Canada can defend our communities from climate disasters while also meeting its NATO obligations?
The Honourable Minister of Emergency Management and Community Resilience.
Mr. Speaker, we're living in a reality where natural disasters are more frequent and more severe. I'm actively working with provinces and territories, Indigenous partners and other stakeholders on how we can strengthen coordination and capacity. Throughout the summer, I met with first responders, local officials, and members of the Canadian Armed Forces to hear their first-hand experiences with wildfires this season. We'll ensure that communities have the tools they need to respond, recover, and rebuild. Thank you.
Il y a un rappel au règlement.
Point of order.
The member for Berthier-Masquinongé. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My point of order is about last week. You'll remember there was a point of order with the immigration minister who had said, I'll say this in another language to make sure I'm understood, and last week it was raised as a point of order. It wasn't an attack. We didn't call for an apology, but we just asked her not to use those terms and to withdraw them. That didn't happen, and that's why it's happened again today. Mr. Speaker, with all due respect to the Secretary of State for Nature, but to say to another member, I'm going to say this in the other language to make sure they understand. Well, first of all, that affects official languages. Both official languages have to be accepted and used in this place. And, Mr. Speaker, it also shows a lack of respect for the work of the interpreters who do a high-quality job. And